Everyone should have a look up. Okay, excellent. So my name's Michelle. I'm from the Lakes Legends, and my beautiful team will be presenting a pumpkin class tonight. We did a lemon class about a month, 6 weeks ago. It was a huge success. We actually had over 100 people register and about 95 jump on. So that was super exciting. The one way to save money is to cook in season, and we've got pumpkins growing and very cheap at the moment. So we're actually going to showcase lots of different dishes, some that I haven't tried, and there's quite a few sweet dishes, and that one of my favourite sweet dishes we're not even making tonight, so I might pop that in the chat as well. So it's actually quite interesting how versatile the good old pumpkin can be, and we're not even making a pumpkin soup tonight either, so it is quite interesting. So if you wanted to pop in the chat where you live and if you are in lockdown, because I know I'm going a little bit stir crazy, the 7th week in lockdown. I know Kaya and Danny, they're lucky enough to be in the Hunter Lake Macquarie area, so they're only just in their first week of lockdown. So type in the chat. So Susie's from Sydney, she's in a 7-week lockdown as well. So just type there. We might have some Melbourneites as well that are in their 6th lockdown. So just yeah, type in there. So that's
Beth, she's Lake Macquarie. Yeah.
So Kim's lucky, she's not in lockdown. Where are you from, Kim? We've got somebody here from Queensland, so they're just out of lockdown. Interesting mix. So these cooking classes are a great way just to release from that every day. And we do have a link that I will put on with lots of cooking classes. So we've got quite a few teams that all pull together and we share our cooking classes so everybody is welcome. And if there is a cooking class that you do like the sounds of but you can't make it, if you register, you'll get the recording and an email with the recipe link. So that's a really good tip as well, so you can watch it on replay. Okie doke, well, we may as well start. So hopefully you are going to enjoy our fantastic class tonight. So Nathan, let me find you on here. I made you a co-host, so you should be at the top where I am, Mr. Nathan. He hasn't jumped off, has he?
No, I'm here.
No, you're still there? Okay, hold on. Let's go through my alphabetical order to find you. Oh, are you registered as Nathan on the, is that what your name is on the thing? I can't see it.
I think so.
What if Nathan W?
Oh, there you are.
Got me?
Yes. I thought I made you a co-host, but you're not, so. I'm going to replace the spotlight. Can everybody see Nathan in the big screen? If you are on change your gallery view and have it on speaker view, you'll see that spotlighted person and will be able to see exactly what's happening. So over to you, Nathan.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Nathan. I'm a team member on Michelle's team on the Lakes Legends. I've been a Thermomix consultant for about 10 months now, and I was a TM5 owner, and I actually joined the team to upgrade to the TM6, and I earned my machine by joining the team, and I've stuck around and I'm just enjoying the ride. So tonight I'm going to make the lentil and pumpkin pot pies. They are a vegetarian recipe. You could also add in some meat if you wanted to, but I think that they're great just as they are. So we'll just go through with the guided cooking now. So I have made my pastry ahead of time, and I'll just go through the steps and then I'll show you a little video of me making the pastry. So for the pastry, we're just going to, it's got a sprig of fresh rosemary. We've got 90 grams of ice cubes, 180 grams of unsalted butter cubed and frozen. And then we've got 200 grams of plain flour, a teaspoon of salt, and then it just takes us through to our automatic dough mode for 2 minutes, and then that'll need that. So I'll just try and share my screen now. Bear with me, this is the first time I'm doing this. Any tips, Michelle?
Nathan, we'll do the video just a bit later when we're doing the cooking time. I've got that in the run sheet. So we'll just continue. We'll get the hot pot, the pies on, and then we'll play the video a little bit later. So
okay, sounds good.
After the
all right. So I've just skipped through all the press next because I've already done the pastry. Okay. So make sure your oven's on, 200 degrees, fan forced, and just grease 6 ramekins. So I've got them here ready. And we're going to start now. So we've got a brown onion. I've just halved that. And then add in 2 garlic cloves. And pop our lid on. Next. And we're just going to chop this for 3 seconds on speed 7. Okay. So there we go. We're all chopped up in 3 seconds. So I just scrape the sides down. And just add in 20 grams of olive oil. And pop our lid back on with the measuring cup inserted. And we're going to cook this for 3 minutes. Varoma, temperature, speed 1. Now this is just going to saute now. And then once this is finished sauteing, I'll just drop down into the info and I'll tell you what's coming next. So once this is done, we'll be adding in our carrot and then stock, rosemary, thyme and fennel seeds. And then we'll be adding in our red lentils and pumpkin mixture. So Michelle, would you like to switch to the next person yet?
Sure, no worries. How long have you got there?
I've got 2.5 minutes.
Okay, no worries. Well, we may as well start with Kyra and then just call out Nathan if you need to jump back.
Yep.
Spotlight. There we go, Kyra. If you just unmute yourself. So one thing I'm doing at the bottom of your screen or the top of the screen, depending on what device you're on, there's the chat, and I'm putting in the recipe links and any other information as well. So keep your eye there, and you can save the chat at the end as well.
Now, if you can't see the chat, if you can't see that information, just touch your screen on your phone and it will all show up on the bottom. So I know I've got a few first timers. So at the moment, I can't see that chat, but if I actually just touch my screen, it will come up across the bottom there. So if you're looking for that chat part, that's where you're looking for, everyone. So I am so excited about this dish because who'd have thought we would be making a pudding with pumpkin, okay? So this is called pumpkin and golden syrup pudding. And the first step is that you get they call it a basin, but our rose gold springform pans are fantastic for this because why? They fit into our Varoma basket. Now we're going to steam this pudding. So the first step is to grease our pan, but we're going to do a little bit different tonight because I want to show you the versatility of what we can do and what we can offer. So if you didn't have what I'm using, go along with it. Use a springform pan. Grease that and make sure it fits in. So our 20 centimetre rose gold pans fit perfectly into the base of our Varoma. All right, so it says to place 2 tablespoons of golden syrup into the bottom of the pan. Now, I want to give you a little tip for when you're actually using your Varoma to steam your puddings or your cakes that you're using your springform pan for. You pop either chopsticks in the base, so it just lifts up your tin, Or why not just use what we've already got? Use our butterfly whisk. And yes, it is a little bit unsteady, but what it does is it actually allows that just to sit up higher in our varoma base, so that you can the steam can actually get around that springform pan to give that even cooking, I should say, not oven cooking, even cooking. So, but tonight I'm going to do them in here. So you can use the Dariol molds, they're on the Mix It shop, and I'll just pull one out so you see the shape. These are silicone. We use these for all sorts of puddings. But what I love about these silicone molds is that they fit in our varoma, and it's just one, like, so I've got that there, and then the round one in the bottom. Now in each of those, I've popped a little bit of golden syrup, and Michelle might be able to put the recipe in. This is the golden syrup that I made in my TM6 today. You can do it in TM5 as well, but it is on cookie dough, and it costs you like 60, 70 cents compared to buying it in the supermarket for about $6. So this is really good. And you know what ingredients they are? It's brown sugar, raw sugar, a slice of lemon, and some water. That is it. Why would you buy it? There you go. So that's our golden syrup that I've placed in the bottom of each of those little molds, okay? All right, so we'll press next and set that aside, which we've done. Now it's for the cooking. So I've got my pumpkin all chopped up, and it's about 300 grams. So I'm just going to pop that in, and then I'm going to press next. Oh, I left a little lonesome one in there. And now we're going to chop it up. So I'm just going to pop the lid on, and it's 5 seconds on speed 9. There we go. Next, now we're going to pop in our butter that I've cubed up. Okay, so we're going to pop that in. I'll just show you that pumpkin, because there is, look at all of that. You wouldn't be able to grate that in time, and that's what we love about the Thermomix, because it just makes life so much easier. So while I've got this bowl off, I'm just going to give that a scrape down on the sides with our spatula, and we've got our butter. So I'm just going to pop that in now, and I have pre-weighed these ingredients pretty much, so make it a little bit more efficient tonight.
Now, anything up? It's only going if I take this off and go through the system, which I don't want to.
I'm going to now pop this golden syrup in. So we want 60 grams. So I'm just going to pop that in. Beautiful. I love being able to save money by being able to make things at home from scratch. I also love that it can be like in the middle of the night, and I can quickly make, Anzac biscuits, and know that I can make the ingredients. It's just, it's just fantastic. I would never be able to do that prior to Thermomix. So I'm going to put the lid on again, and then we're going to cook that off for 3 minutes. So that's me for a little bit. I'll send you back to Michelle, and she'll be hooking you up with someone else.
Thanks, Kyra.
You're welcome.
I'm actually just looking for those silicone mold trays. I don't know if they're on the mix shop anymore. I can't find them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Diane just had a question. Diane just had a question for you. She said, does it matter what pumpkin you use for that particular recipe? Did the recipe state a type of pumpkin?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So
awesome.
It doesn't.
That's great. And Patricia just had a question about the cookie dough. So I've just typed in the chat there for you, Patricia. You can get a free 30-day subscription for anybody that is interested in these recipes and they don't have cookie dough. And then if you like what you see after the 30 days, you can actually just do the subscription and cook manually with your TM31, TM5 or TM6. It's $49 per annum, so less than $1 a week, and you get every single recipe So ebooks are added every month, and Australia has about four cookbooks every year, and they're loaded up, so you get those recipes straight on. Oh, thanks, Beth. Beth's found them. Thank you. She's got the silicone molds in the chat for us. So next I am looking for Danny. So Danny, I'm just going to spotlight you. There we go. Thanks, Danny. Over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
No, you've just muted yourself again. We do know how to use a Thermomix, guys.
There you go. How's that? Can you hear me now?
Sure can.
Okie doke. All right. Well, today I'm going to be making, or tonight, I'm going to be making some pumpkin scones. Now, I don't know if anybody has made pumpkin scones, but they are very different to making a normal scone because the mixture is always really wet and really sticky, and it's a really messy job, but it's well worth making that mess because they're so delicious to eat. So I'm just going to get started straight away. I feel like it's a little bit blurry, but I'll just let you know that I started off by steaming 300 grams of pumpkin, and I just used the blue Kent pumpkin, but you can use butternuts. Butternut is very sweet, but it doesn't have a really strong flavour to come out in your scones. So that's why I chose to use the blue Kent, and I also steamed them. Now, Kyra just said how she uses the whisk or chopsticks or even some forks or whatever in the bottom of your varoma, but I've actually got the little trivet, and I use that every time I use my varoma because it's from the mix shop and it just fits perfectly in the base. It's only $8 or something like that, and it's a really solid trivet, so that's what I use. So to steam my 300 grams of pumpkin, I put in the trivet. These are also from the mix shop. They're baker's baking paper that's cut to the varoma shape. You wet it, scrunch it up, pop it on there. And the reason I did that, if I was just steaming my vegetables and my pumpkin, I wouldn't bother lining it. But because I put my diced pumpkin in here, I sprinkled some nutmeg on them and some maple syrup I used, and poured that on there so that when the pumpkin was steaming, was it being infused with that nutmeg and syrup. So that's why I had that on there. And then when it was steamed, I could take it off, take the paper from under it and let it drain, because so much water comes out of it that, you know, your mixture will just be far too sticky if you don't do that. These papers are from the mix shop again, wonderful to have. So I've pre-cooked my pumpkin because I actually did some yesterday and some today because it is better to be cold. So I've got it all measured out here. It was 300 grams and it comes down to about 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup. Okay, so I'm not actually using a recipe of cookie dough. I'm basing it on a recipe that's free to everybody online, which Michelle's got the link to it, but I'm actually changing it up quite a bit. So this is not, it's based on that recipe, but it's more my own. Okay, so first of all, it asks for some Parmesan cheese. So I'll put on my scales and I'll show you how we do this manually. Can you see my screen? Can you actually see the dial here? All right, so I put on my scales. Now I've got a little bit more. These are actually pumpkin and Parmesan cheese scones because the Parmesan cheese gives us a really lovely flavour. So I've just got some cubed Parmesan cheese. I've got, what's that, 60 grams. On, got my measuring cup on, and I'm just going to mill those down. So a couple of seconds on speed 9. 4 seconds, that's enough. I know Zoom cuts out a lot of the noise, which is good. So I did 4 seconds, and that's just cut down the, milled up the Parmesan cheese. So I just pop that back on. And now I'm going to add some butter. So I'm going to the scales just to show you the quantities that I'm using. All right. And so this is just butter that I've cubed up again. And it's all nice and chilled. I've had it in the fridge so that everything's cold. All right, so it's 80 grams of butter. I'm going to put the lid on. And I'm just going to go for about 10 seconds. Speed 4. And I'm just mixing up that butter with the cheese. I'm going to spin out and I can hear that it's not actually doing anything now. So you stop it. You don't have to go that full time because you would listen to it and turn it off or stop it. So what that's done is it's just broken up the butter with the, sorry, I've got to get the right angle for this, broken up the butter with the cheese and mixed it all together. So I'm going to just do it a little bit more because I want that to cream up a little bit. So I'm going to go to all right, I just went a little bit faster, but it did tend to spin. So I'll open this up. Okay, it's made it a little bit more creamy. So I'll just, when you take the jug or the mixing bowl off the machine, take that opportunity just to sort of scrape everything down. Okay, so now I'm going to add my dry ingredients. Now the dry ingredients, I've got 300 grams of self-raising flour. Well, it's actually baker's flour with some baking powder in it. So it's self-raising flour. I've got a tablespoon of sugar. Well, not quite, but about 2/3 of a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. So all the dry ingredients will just go straight in on top of the butter and cheese. And I'm just going to mix that together. We'll put it on 10 seconds. So we're mixing that flour in with the butter, and this will end up giving us a breadcrumb type texture. We may need another 10 seconds, but I'll have a look. I always prefer to do less and then do it again.
That's a great
just
tip,
needs the,
Danny.
sorry?
That's a great tip. Go less than you can add more. Because
That's exactly
if you go
right.
too
Do it a
far,
little bit
it's
less
gone.
and do it again.
Yeah, it's gone too far.
Especially when you're manually cooking.
Yeah. So those of you who know me might have heard this story before. When I first got my Thermomix, I tried to make coleslaw faster than 3 seconds. So I decided to use the turbo. And within 1 second, I had a coleslaw smoothie. So I learned very quickly in the piece not to try and compensate because the Thermomix is super quick. So don't make that mistake. Only use turbo for pulsing or if the recipe says.
That's right. So now this has sort of combined the flour with the butter. And if you are manually making scones, you know, you have to sort of, with your fingers, not knead it, but sort of crumble it all in your fingers to make those breadcrumbs. Well, we've done that in the 20 seconds in the Thermomix. So now you can see that I've got those breadcrumby type texture with my flour and butter. And of course the cheese.
And no mess, Danny.
No mess at all. Now I'm going to be popping in my, following the recipe that Michelle's sending you the link. So far it's pretty similar, but I'm going to pop in, the way the recipe was written, it says 300 grams of mashed pumpkin. Now that is ridiculous because I did that and sloppy mess everywhere. So this is 300 grams prior to cooking it and then pureeing it after it's already cooked. And I can see, you can see it, probably can't, but there is some liquid sitting in the bottom of that bowl and I've only had that in there for 20 minutes. So that's what contributes to the mixture being really wet.
Are you going to put your version up on the recipe community, Danny?
If you'd like me to.
That'll be fantastic. I'm sure everybody would love that. Then they don't have to modify the dodgy recipe. We can have the one that works. So thank you very much, Danny.
Well, I tend to make things up as I go. I did it per the recipe. I didn't like it, so now this is mine.
But Danny, there's a difference between people that are really good cooks and they can cook like, you know, and throw things in and all that sort of stuff. But it's really hard sometimes to then translate that into paper where other people will understand. And
Yes.
I think sometimes with the recipe community recipes, you have to be really cautious and make sure that you read the tips at the bottom for where, you know, like you said, it was definitely too much if you did 300 grams of mashed pumpkin.
That's right.
It really was prior, 300 grams of raw pumpkin, then steamed and mashed.
Yes.
But they don't.
This isn't
make
a
it
recipe
clear.
community recipe either. It's from another recipe developer online. But anyway, as I said, I'm changing it now. She also uses buttermilk or milk, but I'm actually using soda water because with our lemonade scones, the lemonade makes them light and fluffy. Because this is savoury with the cheese and the pumpkin, I'm using soda water rather than lemonade.
That's brilliant.
So I'm just popping in half a cup. Maybe I'm going to pour in a little bit. I'm just going to leave a drop because I want to see how it turns out. And I'm also changing up and I'm going to pop in an egg. Okay. So it's really quite different. And I'm going to mix this all together just for 15 seconds. Speed 3. That's all mixing nicely. And okay, I'll just show you that and then come on, open up. Okay, I'll scrape down the side. But with this mixture, you can, if it's still a little bit too wet, just add some more self-raising flour, or if it's too dry, add a bit more soda water, because it's going to depend how much moisture was actually in your pumpkin as to the consistency of your dough that you've got here now, or your batter. So, you can see that? Okay, now I'm just going to knead it because we don't want to knead scones too much because that makes them too dense. But I'm only going to knead it for 30 seconds. Sorry. Oh, hang on. Knead. Now notice I've changed the placements of my modes if you've done your update on your PM6. Has anyone done that?
I did this afternoon, but haven't looked at it. I turned my Thermomix off after I did it. So.
I'm just going to knead this for 30 seconds. Then if, as I said, I'm going to, I don't know which is the best way for me to move this. Once I get this out, you'll be able to go over to Nathan or Ira or Natalie, whoever's on next, and I'll make these. And I'm going to be popping them. You can put them into a round tray if you want to put some baking paper in a round tray, and you make it like the round scrolls. And when you're making scones, you've got to make sure that you keep them pushed up against the one next to it so that they more rise up rather than go flat. And a pumpkin scone tends to go flat because it's so wet. All right. So it's a good idea to do it in these. But tonight, I'm just going to do it in the rose gold tray with the rose gold, the liner in that. So I'll be making them in that. Okay. And we'll show you the mixture. So that's how it's come out just after that little knead. See, it's all sort of smoothed up. So it's actually quite a nice, it's still a little bit wet, but it's actually holding form, see? Yeah, so I might wipe my finger. I might just pop a little bit more flour on the mat. I've got a container here somewhere. So when you're doing this, this is a really messy job. You put quite a lot of flour on your mat or on your bench. And I'm going to be putting on a glove, okay? Because if I've got to reach over and touch my iPad and go off mute or mute myself, I don't want to be putting my big sticky fingers all over it. So while I'm doing this, this mat is a beautiful host reward for anybody that's online tonight that has invited a few guests and using this as a cooking experience. This mat is something that you can have as or order as a host reward. And along with that, you can, there's the beautiful white thermo server the oval one and the round one. So there's all different options in host rewards. So if you've got guests on tonight, you've unlocked some of those host rewards that you can choose from. So how good is that? Any other questions, Michelle?
No, I think I've been answering them as we're going.
Okay, this is going to be really messy, trust me. So I'll just spread this. Now I've just popped on a pair of disposable gloves just to sort of keep it. And it's hard when the bottom of the machine of the bowl is in the camera view. Now, if you don't have scone cutters, you can use a glass. That's quite popular to use, a glass. But I'll show you. I'm going to use my measuring cup. If I can, sometimes with pumpkin scones, they're very hard to actually get the round scone. This is pretty hard to get out of the bowl. Okay. Now, when you're working with doughs, it's a good idea to put some flour in one of these shakers. So you're not using your dirty hands to pick up your flour bottle. There we go. And you just turn it around, and yes, it is sticky. Look. Who likes getting their hands in dirty, like things like this? Anyone? No.
Me, I find it therapeutic, actually.
Yeah. Well, this one could have had a bit more flour put in the bowl before I poured it out. Do you want to go to Nathan and I'll do some of these?
Sure. So Nat is actually up next.
Or whoever's next, yeah.
Hello.
Hold on, I'm just gonna, what I might do, Danny, if you're okay, I might add you as a spotlight so everyone still can see you as
okay.
Nat's talking, okay? Just to let you know that you're still spotlighted.
Sure.
So everybody should see Nat and Danny. Awesome, over to you, Nat.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Or Michelle, can you just let me know, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, volume okay, all right. Hi everyone, I'm Nat, obviously from the Lakes Legends. How are you all going? Look, you've seen a couple of things in action at the moment, but it might be useful to pop into the chat box if you're feeling like in a sharing mood. What sort of things you'd like to cook with pumpkin? So while I'm showing you the delicious pumpkin hummus recipe, have a think about that and pop it in the chat box, because then the person that invited you tonight, and maybe even tonight if Michelle's feeling adventurous, she might go and look up some recipes for you that connect with what you can cook with pumpkin on cookie dough. And there's so many great recipes. So pop that in the chat box if you're feeling like sharing. But what I'm going to show you tonight is the pumpkin hummus. This is one of my favorite dip recipes on cookie dough, and I'm going to explain what else you can do with it. And I've got to say, this might actually be the first time I'm glad it's virtual, because I can't actually have chickpeas or lentils or all those lovely things that I saw Nathan putting in, which just don't work for me because I'm actually allergic to them. So pumpkin has come to the rescue for me, because I could not have hummus without an alternative option. So the hummus dip recipe, and Michelle, you could pop that in the chat box. The hummus dip recipe that I'm using tonight has 4 variations on it. So you can go pumpkin crazy, but the original recipes with chickpeas, which is the traditional hummus. You can also do a spinach and lemon version and a roasted onion version. So I really love this recipe. As I said, the pumpkin one is what I love. I haven't tried the chickpea one, sorry. So if anyone else has, feel free to chime in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cooking. And look, guys, this recipe, I love it so much. First, our whole garlic cloves straight in. And we're just going to blitz those 5 seconds at speed 8. So 5 seconds for beautiful chopped up garlic. So basically, there's your chopped up garlic. So, I mean, that's just for those of you, and I was a big cooker and I used to mince and chop all of my garlic and chilies and gingers and everything. So honestly, the time that you save with that, amazing. Scrape it down, and it tells you to do that on the screen. Scrape your garlic down. We're now going to add some oil. It's asking for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now on the screen, you have the option to click a little button and bring up your scales so that you don't actually have to use a measuring spoon for that. Now 1 tablespoon is 15 grams, so I'm just going to pop my 2 tablespoons in. And that's measuring that for me with the weights on the Thermomix, in the bottom of the Thermomix. So another amazing feature that's life-saving for reducing dishes in the kitchen. You can weigh directly in. Okay, and next, now what that's going to do, it's just going to cook. Oh, I better put the lid on first, everyone. Okay. So really good though that I made that little whoopsie there to show you, you cannot cook without the lid being on the Thermomix. It's a safety feature. It's got locking arms and it locks straight on. So kids or anyone using the Thermomix, it's super safe. Okay, I'm going to turn it to speed 1 and it's going to cook that garlic for 1 minute for me. While it's cooking that, I'm going to talk to you about an ingredient in this recipe, which is tahini. Now, tahini is whole sesame seeds blended up to make like a paste. You can actually make this, and this is one that I've actually made myself. This is in my pantry, in your Thermomix. So this is what I used to have. Okay, you can get that from shops. It's not organic, but you know, it says natural. Don't be confused by that. That means it's not organic. So you can buy tahini paste anywhere from $5 to $15, depending on whether you're buying a non-organic or an organic version. I can buy my bulk sesame seeds, a 1 kilo pack, for $13. I can make about 3 times this amount for the same cost, just doing it myself on my Thermomix. And it's organic. So I'm choosing what's going in there and I'm making sure that it's fresh, and I can guarantee you the flavor is better. So what you can actually do is make that tahini paste first if you haven't already got it made up. You don't even need to clean the bowl. You can just pull out your tahini paste and put it into a recycled jar, and then off you go. You can keep cooking your pumpkin hummus without rinsing the bowl. So really, really great. So that's one thing that I've made for tonight. Now, it's just finished cooking my garlic and it's asking me for my 800 grams of chickpeas. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to replace the chickpeas with pumpkin. Now, this is roasted pumpkin that I've pre-roasted. I'm just going to get my scales up again because I'm going to pop 350 grams of that roasted pumpkin in.
Does it tell you that in the variations, Nat, to do that?
It does, yes. All the variations are in the tips, so no need to fear about that. I better just double check that it was 350 grams. I'm going off memory there. Before I
have a look on your screen. Hit the 3 dots next to the next and go to recipe.
Yeah. I was kind of just quickly, because I knew I had it. I was trying to save time for the thing. But anyway, I was right. It was 350 grams. And then I'm also going to add in cinnamon and cumin. Now, here's another thing. I've actually milled my own cumin here. So amazing, because I can tell you, I wish I could send the smell of this through the screen. Freshly ground spices, you are never going to go back to buying jars when you have freshly ground spices, because 1, the taste is way better. 2, they're better for you. They're freshly milled. 3, they're way cheaper. So another thing I've done for this is actually grind up my cumin seeds. So I've got them there ready to put in what the variation says in the tips. It's 1/4 teaspoon of each. So now instead of my chickpeas, I've done those 3 elements. It's asking for 60 grams of lemon juice. There's my 60 grams of lemon juice. And now I'm just going to insert the lid. And I'm going to mix that 30 seconds speed combo.
She's doing the dance. the video cuts out the sound, but Nat can't talk over the sound because it's choppy, because it's milk.
You guys might not have heard that, but I couldn't hear a thing, so I thought I'd do a little groove for you. Scrape down the sides. And that's after the first mix, looking amazing. I think it's got a second one. Ah, yes, of course. We've got to put our tahini in. So I'm going to put my 2 tablespoons of tahini paste. Oh, it's so good. I can tell you, I'm addicted to this, but when you buy the shop one, it is so hard to get it out the jar for anyone that uses tahini. Oh my God, it's like, whereas this just nicely comes out, makes life so much easier, fresh. Okay, a bit of sea salt to taste. Again, you can grind your salt up. Guys, don't be buying salt, especially don't be buying pre-ground salt because it's got an anti-clumping agent in it. Make sure that you grind up your own rock salt in your Thermomix. Takes a few seconds. And 10 seconds, speed 5.
And Nat, when you actually do grind up your own salt, it actually gives your bowl a bit of a polish too. It's not damaging your bowl, but it does make it really shiny.
Was that to me? Was there someone talking to me there, or was that someone adding some information?
Yeah, Kyra was just saying, she's just muted herself halfway through, that when you grind down the salt actually polishes your bowl, so it gives it that nice sheen. It's not doing into the bowl.
That's a lovely tip, Kyra. Thank you. There's a few different options out there, eggshells and salt, and yeah, but I love the salt one. That's it, guys. Like, how easy is that recipe? I am going to put it into a bowl because I have one more tip to tell you, but oh my gosh, look at it. I love it so much. This is, okay, one, you're going to be addicted to it. You can put it on sandwiches. You can add it to dishes. You can just have it straight on. So one of my favorite ways to do it is crackers. These are seeded crackers I've made off of cookie dough as well, and they're beautiful. Look at that. There's a thickness so you can see. No need to buy those expensive shop bought crackers. And now I've got my beautiful dip here, which I'm just slightly neatening up for you. But there it is, obviously.
Has she jammed for everybody or just?
Yeah, she has. That's a large quantity, Michelle, don't you think?
It is, definitely. And that's the joy. I love making dips in my Thermomix because you're really getting double probably what you would be buying in the store.
Seasoning. So hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Never quite know. Again, I've made this up from spices in my kitchen. And you might.
So what was that, Nat? Because you jammed actually. What was that you're sprinkling on top?
Sorry, my internet's terrible. Sorry, the joys of lockdown and rural. So this is za'atar seasoning. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yep.
In the recipe notes that you can find this recipe on cookie dough. Again, you're going to use your ground cumin that you blended up. Sorry about that. You're going to put a bunch of other things in that. Check out the recipe on cookie dough. You're going to sprinkle some of that on top of your dip. I can tell you now, people will be coming back to your house for this dip and these crackers because it is so good. To answer the questions about which pumpkin, it does say to use butternut pumpkin, and I would recommend butternut pumpkin because it's got a sweetness to it. It isn't too overpowering. You do want your dips to be, you know, that little bit sweet, I think, to complement some savoury crackers. It's not noticeable. It's still a beautiful savoury dish, but you're not adding any sweetness in by using that beautiful butternut pumpkin. It's one of my faves to use. There was something, I think that's it for the pumpkin hummus, but of course, if there's questions in the chat box.
Yep, we've got a couple of questions, Nat.
Yeah.
The tahini, how long would that last in your fridge?
Oh,
When I've made it, I've kept it there for ages, like a month, if not more.
ages and ages. Like, oh, I go through mine too quickly to know, sorry, but look, the shop bought ones, again, they say that that's only using sesame seeds. This one's got a little bit of grapeseed oil in it. I don't know how that's only using sesame seeds because it's got a fair chunk of liquid on the top, which I imagine is some sort of water to preserve it. You don't even keep this one. I don't keep this one in the fridge. I keep that in my cupboard, which I don't use anymore. You can see I've stopped using that, but I bought it out of the pantry just for the show. This one you keep in the fridge. Now, I would keep it in the fridge because you freshly milled it and you want it to preserve. But as Michelle said, like ages, really all it is sesame seeds and oil, and the oil will be helping to preserve it. But sorry, I don't have an exact time frame on how long the tahini lasts for in the fridge.
And Linda wanted to know, can you freeze it? I'm presuming she's asking about the hummus. Have you ever frozen the pumpkin hummus?
I've never frozen it. I'll give it a try. Whoever is your person that invited you tonight, I will be letting them know. I will freeze a piece of this tonight, and then I will defrost it in a day or two and let you know how it turns out.
Awesome, thank you. And you've inspired Beth. She said she makes a regular hummus all the time, but you've inspired her to give this one a go. Diane, you can buy sesame seeds like from Coles and that, which aren't really great quality. We buy ours from Honest to Goodness. So if you find an Honest to Goodness supplier or source, depending on where you live, like a bulk nut seed organic type place. If you live local on the northern end of the coast, Candle Fruit Shop's got a pretty good supply of different things. I don't know if they're organic, but they do have lots of unusual seeds and nuts and grains because that owner is gluten-free. So she has got a really good range there.
Yeah.
And for those that are living up my way, you'd be best getting them at Wollongby Road, Providore. They'll be able to help you out. They use Honest to Goodness products, so supply those. So there you go.
Awesome, thank you. So over to you now, Kyra. Thank you, Nat, for that.
Did you want me to go through the incentives later, the book and that?
Oh, yes, if you want to do that quickly, I forgot about that. Yes, thank you.
I can do it whenever you need me to.
Yeah, we'll just quickly do that now while you're there.
No worries. Okay, so this month, really exciting, the gift with purchase. So for those on here that are looking at purchasing a Thermomix TM6, this month the gift with purchase is, and is this back to front for everyone? I don't know if it's back to front or not.
No, that's right. It's good.
Beautiful. So that's the Creating Something Incredible cookbook. Guys, this cookbook was #1 last week in Australia. So woohoo, it's amazing. Can I just say what's in it is spectacular. So this cookbook's valued at $49.99. You also have this incredible thermo server. It's not often available outside of a host reward, but it is this month with the gift with purchase. That's $135. So all up there, you're looking at $184.99, and that's an actual freebie with your purchase this month. So super awesome. This keeps food hot and cold for 2 hours. I use it all the time. I cook noodles in it. I do a whole range of things. I serve up all my dishes and keep them warm in it. In summer, I make ice cream in it and it stays cold for 2 hours. I've tested it. So this is a really fantastic gift. This book is so good. There's actually a competition on at the moment, guys. So for anyone that's got this book, you don't have to be buying a Thermomix. If you've already got a Thermomix and you've got this book or you want to buy this book, there's a customer competition on at the moment. If you cook something from the cover of this book and you share that to the Thermomix in Australia website with the appropriate tag, you could actually go in the draw to win the Cobalt V100 mini vac. Oh, mine is sitting at the post office, and maybe Michelle can show you hers. It's so good, and it's
I got
fabulous.
mine.
Oh, who's gonna give me vacuum envy?
There's Kyra with hers.
Really like to clean up my baby's crumbs on the ground and all these things with drops of food. But
Mine's always close at hand. Always. I love it.
I've got serious vacuum envy right now, Cara. I'm looking at my floor and I'm going, oh my God, I want the vacuum. But honestly, guys, it's a slimline. I've used it and it is amazing. That's $299 worth. So it's worth cooking a dish from this book and posting it up, because you never know, you might win one. So that's the incentive for this month though, guys. I think, did I cover everything, Michelle?
Yeah, so our team's actually cooking out of that cookbook. Every day this month, we're posting an image, a recipe from there. So we've actually got a team hashtag, hashtag Legends Mixed It. I'll pop it in the chat. So if you search us, if you're not following us on social media, you'll find our images and you'll see lots of inspiration. So we're almost out of time, but we've still got a couple more things to go. So I'm just going to flick over to Kyra.
Okay, so I need to get my puddings on. So without the measuring cup, so what we've done is in our bowl, we've actually just got our cooked up pumpkin. And now we're going to add our eggs while it's actually the blade is actually spinning. So we've got 3 eggs to pop in there. And these are beautiful local eggs because I don't have chooks. So, but I do choose to buy local eggs. Won't be long now. Beautiful. I'm just going to speed that through. Now we're going to pop in our flour. Like I said to you before, I've actually pre-weighed that just to make it easy for us. And I've got some mixed spice. We'll pop that in. Some little bit of bicarb. Pop that in. And now we're going to pop our lid back on and just give that a mix. So what I'm going to do then is actually fill these silica molds up, and I'm going to put a litre of water in my bowl and steam these. And normally, if I was to use the springform pan, it would take an hour to cook the whole cake, but it's only going to be 18 minutes if I use these. So that's why I've chosen to use these tonight. As you can see, all of our mix is done there. I might just scrape down the sides a little bit just to get that extra little bit. So I will steam these off while Michelle is moving on to the next person. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to me when they're done.
Yeah. So what we might even do is when I send you the email with all the links and things, I might just give you Kyra's finished product, because that was my fault. I should have flipped to Kyra earlier, and we're not going to finish them because it is 9 o'clock. We're running a bit late. So I'll just pop Nathan on. Thanks, Nathan. Just unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the onion finished sauteing, and I've just got the carrots in. They're sauteing with a bit of 20 grams of olive oil. It's got 30 seconds left, and then I'll go to the next step. And then once that's done, after the 30 seconds, it's counting down, I'm going to add in our sorry, lost what I'm reading. I'm going to weigh in our pumpkin, which I've already done. And a tip for safety is use the hook on your spatula which interlocks on your simmering basket. So if you don't know that, when you pull it out, save your hands from getting burnt. Okay, so that's done. So it's just cooked down the onion and the carrot. And I'm just going to pop in, so in here I've got stock. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of dried rosemary, some thyme and some fennel seeds. So pop that straight in. And then add in 150 grams of red lentils. So I've already washed and drained these. So pop them in. And 460 grams of water.
So while Nathan's adding the water, tonight we've shown you lots of basics that you can make in the Thermomix. So we've showed you how easy it was to make tahini. We've spoken about the golden syrup. Nathan's going to be talking about puff pastry. You can be making your own butter. So all these sorts of things are saving us money. Thanks, Nathan.
Yep, so I'm just popping in our pumpkin now to steam that. So that's 400 grams of pumpkin in there and diced up. So pop our lid on, and this is going to cook on varoma 15 minutes, reverse speed 1. So that'll just steam that off. And while that's cooking away, Michelle, if you're happy, I'll share my video on making some pastry.
Definitely. So just click the share screen and then you'll be able to pick up the image on your device.
Okay, all right.
There you go. Nat said the homemade tahini lasts 6 months. I thought it lasted ages. And Nathan, we're seeing a black screen at the moment.
Okay.
So click the share screen down the bottom or the top of the.
Okay, camera. I don't even know. Sorry, just a sec. I've only had this phone for about a week.
No worries, all good. Rest assured, we're really good at using Thermomix, maybe not so good at technology. If we can't get it to work, I'll send you that video anyway with your links. Yeah, no, it's not working, Nathan.
Okay. Wait a sec. Yeah, I can only see photos, not video.
Yeah, all good. Don't worry about it. Just share it to me and we can send it off.
Yeah, I can
Danny,
post it on my socials.
Yeah, awesome. And Danny looks like she's ready, so I'll just spotlight Danny.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks.
They only take 10, 12 minutes in the oven, on a really hot oven, 200 to 220. And they've come out, as you can see, you probably watched me playing with a really sticky mess, but look, they still come out quite nice, beautiful. Can you see that? And to go on them, just to show you, because they are a savoury pumpkin and cheese scone, they are still very sweet because the pumpkin is sweet. So I'm just going to cut one open, and I've got here different spreads that you can pop on these scones. So the first one is a golden syrup butter. Now this is out of the new Butter It Up collection that came out a week or two ago, and it's just made with butter and golden syrup. So they are both things that you make in the Thermomix and put them together and make a beautiful golden syrup butter. So that will just go on that hot. Oh, look, it's going to melt everywhere because it's hot. And so that's a sweet spread that you can put on a pumpkin scone. And this is a savoury one. It's Philadelphia cream cheese with some chives on it. So you just sort of pop this on what I'm going to be eating in a minute. So you pop that on, and then you can sprinkle some more chives on the top if you like. Actually, what I'm going to do is put a little bit more of the golden syrup on this one, because it's all melting into it. And there we have pumpkin scones with a savoury topping, the Philadelphia cream cheese and chives, or the buttered up golden syrup butter that's on Cookie Dough out of the latest collection. So that's me for tonight.
Thanks, Danny. That's fantastic. I've just got a couple of polls just to get some information from you guys of what you thought of tonight, and if you need some follow-up help. So I'll just launch these. So just seeing what help you needed from your consultant after today. So did you want to take advantage of our half-price business kit, which we actually didn't speak about today? So if you join the team at the moment, if you've got a TM6, it's only $62.50 to join the team and get that Thermomix, earning you some money. Or there is a payment option that you can join to earn your Thermomix for free, and then you're saving $62.50 on that business kit. If you'd like to purchase your Thermomix using 36 months interest free, that actually ends tomorrow at noon. So if that was something that you wanted to do, make sure that you get in touch with your consultant tonight. And if you'd like to purchase your Thermomix, making other options, if you wanted to unlock some host rewards, and if you just wanted your consultant to give you a call to check in. So if you wanted to just do a little tick on that, that would be fantastic to let us know what you wanted. Can everybody see that poll up there? Nathan, I can see you. Can you see the poll?
I can.
Yep, awesome. Let's give it another couple of seconds. No one's been inspired with anything. No one's ticking any boxes. Okay. I will close that one off. And then our next question. What have you been inspired to make today? The pumpkin and lentil pies, the pumpkin and golden syrup pudding. So I'm definitely going to give that one a go. The pumpkin hummus, pumpkin scones, pesto spaghetti, which we haven't actually got to yet, and everything. Who would have thought you can make so much with pumpkin? So looks like there's lots of inspiration there. We've got lots of everything. So we've got lots of puddings, the hummus, scones. We'll talk through the pesto spaghetti, and we can even show the finished product. I'm actually going to be making that on Friday. I'm pretty sure I've got a photo of it done because it is a favourite in our house. And Natalie just said that she has had a look up the hummus can be frozen for 4 months in an airtight container. So that's great. Excellent. So lots of inspiration there, which is fantastic because this is what it's all about, is being inspired. So thank you. And I'll just flip over to Kyra quickly so she can just finish off.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, great. All righty. So we're doing the pesto spaghetti with roast pumpkin. So what it's actually asked you to do is, and I've done this in advance, but the recipe, you can serve this warm or you can do it in advance like I have done. So I've roasted my pumpkin, I've roasted the tomatoes and some asparagus. You could use other vegetables if you want, like capsicum or whatever. And I've made my spaghetti. This is a great dish to take and have ready for barbecues, because all you have to do just before, or even like you can even do the pesto in advance as well, is make that. So we're going to quickly skip to step 5. So I'm just going down into here and we just want to go in there, and I've got everything weighed up. It'll take me a couple of seconds and we'll pop this in. Sorry for the delay in getting this to you. We're popping in our basil and our spinach. So I've done that in the wrong order, but that's okay. You get the idea. We're going to pop in some lemon juice and some extra virgin olive oil. Give me 1 second. See, look how quick you can do this. We're just going to pop in the 20 grams. Beautiful. Bit of salt. And I'm pleased to hear that tip about the anti-caking agent in our salt, because I didn't know that. I knew that about cheese, but not about salt. So there you go. I've learned something tonight. So that's that. And now, yeah, pop that in like so. Next. And we're going to chop all that up. Ready? Okay, and if we need to repeat that, we do it again, but it's usually pretty good.
Wow,
so
how many seconds is that?
5 seconds.
Cool.
All right. I forgot to put my parmesan in. That's why it's looking sloppy. But anyway, that's because I'm just going to do it now. I was racing to get it done, but it will be fine. So let me just do that again.
If you've got coriander growing or parsley, you can actually substitute them out with the basil as well. I didn't think I liked coriander, but coriander pesto is actually delicious.
Yes, yes, I agree. I'm just going to do that one more second.
So again, cooking what's in season or what's in your garden. So don't go out and buy a $3 bunch of basil if you've got another herb growing in your garden that you can use for free.
Beauty. All right, so we've got that pesto made now. The cheese is a little chunky, but my family will eat it. It's all good. So now what we're going to do now is just pop this in with the spaghetti just to mix it through. And like I said, this is actually delicious warm, but it's also good cold. It's also good if you're like me and you've got family that would prefer to have meat in here. You can add some steamed chicken, or on the TM6 there's that really cool new browning off chicken recipe. So you can actually do up some chicken in your Thermomix in the bowl, and it will brown it off for you. So I'm just stirring that pesto through, and just like the girls have used before, I've got my oval thermoserver. I'm going to pop that in like so, and then I will top it with all of the pumpkin and the tomatoes. Sorry, I'm just going to use my hands just to get it all in there. It's quite a bit of food, so it does go a long way, this recipe, and it is delicious.
So Kyra's got a dinner and a dessert cooked for tomorrow night. I love it.
It will probably go during the day, just saying. So, and then you just top that with a little bit of rocket. Beautiful. Just to add a little bit more pizzazz, but you don't have to put it on if you don't want to. And just some chopped up walnuts. So we're just going to sprinkle them over the top as well. Now look how colourful and delicious is that.
Yum.
And how beautiful is it presented in an oval thermoset?
I use them for everything.
Me too.
So there you go.
Did you want us to quickly flick to you? Have you got something to show us, or you'll just show us the finished product?
Have we lost Nathan?
He's muted.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good.
I've got the pastry that I can just show you. I've already prepared to roll out and go on, so I'll just get that.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, guys. Sorry we're running a bit late. We're obviously a bit dubious trying to fit too many recipes in.
So this is the rosemary butter pastry.
Awesome.
So that these will just, once you dish up the mixture, it's got 2.5 minutes to go. I'll just pop them in the ramekins, and then the pastry will just go on top, and then you press the sides down right around the edge to seal it shut, and you just bake them in the oven. So I've got all my pastry ready to go. And I'm just waiting for this to finish cooking off now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that, Nathan. We won't worry about showing them tonight because we've gone 10 minutes over or 15 minutes over. So we'll just take some pictures and get them to me, and I will email everybody the recording and the recipe links and Nathan's finished product of his delicious lentil pot pies that sound absolutely gorgeous. So thank you. And it's really good. We've showed a couple of vegetarian meals. So some of you may be vegetarian or vegan, but other people might not be eating that way. So sometimes it's really good not to actually have meat, and having these dishes actually quite do fill you up, much to your surprise. So they do are full of lots of yummy goodness, and lentils are so delicious and so good for you. So so Joe's just said, pumpkin, here we come. Susie said, great recipes tonight. So hopefully there's some that you haven't really looked at, like those golden syrup puddings is something that I have not really done before. So when I think pumpkin soup. So hopefully we've inspired you to grab a cheap pumpkin, or if you've got one growing in the backyard, or if your neighbour gives you a contactless delivery and throws one on your front doorstep, you've got something now that you can cook with. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure spending these last hour and 15 minutes with you. So yeah, use the hashtag Legends Mixed It if you recreate any of these, or you can follow our hashtag to see our finished product. So good night, guys. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for my beautiful team for cooking up a storm and presenting tonight to you. So thank you, Danny, Natalie, Kyra, and Nathan. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
So lots of inspiration, lots of thanks. Saying dishes look great, great class. So that was really good. Great, guys.
It seemed really rushed tonight.
I think I might have squeezed in an extra recipe maybe.
Oh, too long, sorry. I think you can blame me for that.
No, not at all. It's good to have that interaction.